This one might hit a very tender place because I'm talking about child and parent dynamics. So one thing you have to understand is children aren't the creators of relationships, they're the recipients. As an adult, you have absolute responsibility over the child, but you also have absolute power. And so when you are creating that relationship with your child, they're not participating in the creation of the rule set as far as what's valued, how things are supposed to go. That's all dictated by you, the parent. When that child becomes an adult, the rule set that the parents established are no longer unilateral. They're not just one way, but now they're going to be enacted by the child too. And so the way that the adult child treats their parent, feels about their parent, is often a reflection of what the parent established in childhood. So for instance, if you're an adult now and you find that you're becoming irritated when you interact with like your grandma or your mom or your dad, and maybe you're guilting yourself for it. You're like, damn, why don't I feel like being loving towards them? Why I want to be warm, I want to be kind, but why am I being so impatient? Why am I being so irritable? You might want to introspect and look back in your childhood. Was that how you were treated? Were you often treated in a way that they treated you like you were a burden? Or maybe you can't be warm and close to them because hierarchy was how your childhood was characterized. I'm above you, you're beneath me. That kind of dynamic implicitly demands distance. You cannot be warm and intimate and close to somebody who is establishing their superiority. That demands distance. Or even warmth, right? As a child, when you wanted to have those spontaneous interactions of warmth, were they shut down? Were you punished for being vulnerable? Because if that's the case, then now that you're an adult and they perhaps even want those spontaneous acts of love, it's like, well, dude, when I was younger, I wanted to give that to you and you crushed it. You proved the rule that that's not what we do. And so now that we're adults, I'm sorry, the warmth's not there. You killed that years ago, buddy. Like, that pattern was long destroyed. You know what I'm saying? The adult in the relationship really dictates how that relationship is going to be. In a lot of ways, they're not even raising another human being. They're shaping the future texture of their relationship with their child. Like, you're literally shaping how the future is going to look. You're not just shaping the nation's future, you're shaping your own. And so if you're not happy with how your adult child treats you, you're not happy with that relationship, there's clearly room for some accountability, man, because the child is a recipient of that relationship. Their nervous system was trained on it. The way that they view love, the way that they approach relationships and emotional intimacy is largely the byproduct of what you taught them. You created those rules. And so as an adult, the child might be feeling guilty where they're like, damn, I really wish I could be closer. I wish that we could, have a more loving relationship. I wish I wasn't so irritated. I wish I wasn't so impatient with them. And if I could talk to that adult child, I would just want to tell them what you're doing isn't cruelty and it's not even morally wrong. It's actually structurally sound. Like, you are finishing what they started. Okay, now you don't have to go out of your way to be extra cruel. You don't have to go out of your way to punish them. All you have to do is honor the truth of the relationship that they built. You received the truth of the relationship that they built. And if they built a relationship where you're impatient, where you're irritated, where their vulnerability doesn't matter because your vulnerability didn't matter when you were a child, then that's the bed that they made and they get to lay in it. Now, like I said, you don't have to go out of your way to be cruel or to be punishing. But ultimately, if you're honoring what the relationship is, it's not your responsibility to fix it. And frankly, you can't fix it because it wasn't even yours to begin with. The only way that relationship has a possibility of being remedied is if the parent acknowledges, hey, I know I designed this. I'm not really happy with how I did this. I made some mistakes and I didn't mean to. I really wish we could be closer and I want us to be closer. I fucked up. Can we work on this? Right? And then you both acknowledge, like, yeah, the way that things are, we can make it better. Right? Even that acknowledgement alone, you might find that acknowledgement would soften you. If you even just imagine it, you might even get emotional just thinking like, damn, they're actually going to acknowledge that they didn't want this and that they caused this because they genuinely did cause this. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're not going to have a better relationship through you guilting yourself or shaming yourself or beating yourself with the moral beat stick. Ultimately, it's going to come from awareness, right? They have to acknowledge that they made the mistake, that they shaped this relationship to be the way that it is, and that they want it to be different. Because the relationship may have served them well. These dynamics may have served them very well when you didn't have power, when you were powerless, when they had superiority. But Father Time is undefeated. You can't escape Father Time. And so that table is going to turn inevitably. And now that it did turn, perhaps you're in a time in your life where you have more vitality, where you're more interesting, where the power is in your hands and they're more frail, they're getting older. right? They're not as influential because when you were a child, they were an adult and they seem so enigmatic, so compelling. They know so much. They have the keys to right and wrong. I want that, right? And now that you've been disillusioned, you have some power and they're more vulnerable because they're older, right? Suddenly the same rules that served them when they were in power, they don't serve them so well now that you're the one in power. It's no fun when the rabbit has the gun, right? But ultimately, they create the rules on the outside. If they had been kind and loving, and if your feelings mattered, and if in your most vulnerable moments they embraced you and they were warm, that would be the rule set that follows into adulthood, and they would have an adult child that is loving and warm and caring and looks out for their vulnerabilities. It happens. There are relationships like that. They're out there. And so I'm just gonna wrap this video up because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if you're feeling badly for how your relationship with your older parents are, I just want to assure you, you're not wrong. Like, your feelings are valid. Your entire nervous system was shaped by the environment that they created. And so there's no need for you to feel guilty. You're just carrying out the rules that they established. You're not wrong.